limit and at offset.
You are clear, doctor.
Okay.
Fine.
Let me close this, and then I load. We start from operators. Okay, let us start from operators. Basically, there are many operators that we're going to use. We can decide to use equals to, assuming that you want to pick, you want to pick some records that belongs to a particular person. That's when you can use the equal sign. For example, the where clause uses the operators to construct conditions. Some of the most commonly used operators are equals to. For example, if maybe I want to retrieve all the customers from the table called customers, but I want only to retrieve the male customers, that's when I can say to put the sex should equals to male. If I want the female one, I can say to use the female. So to put that equal sign, you use this particular operator equal sign to show that it is equal. Then we have greater than. Maybe if you want, maybe we want to display the records of customers in the customers table who are born maybe after or after 1997. We can now use the greater than, which means that people who are born after 1997, we can say, let the system retrieve for us their records. That is by using the greater than. Then we also have less than. If you want to see the people who are born before a particular age, you can be able to use the less than. And then we have and. And is where you are going to make sure that the two conditions that you are going to put there should be equals to true. For example, I want to select the first name and last name from the table called customers, where the country is USA and the last name is Do, which means that all the people whose countries are USA and their last name are Do will be presented. That's when you can use the and. Then we also have what we call the or. The or operator, you use it when either of the condition is true. For example, if you said you want to select first name and last name from a table called customers, where the country is USA or the last name is Do, it simply means that anyone who is in USA will be displayed. Their first name and last name is displayed. And also, anyone whose last name is Do and is not from USA, the details will also be displayed. That is using the or operator. Then we have not operator. Not operator is like not. You know what not is? If someone does not belong to a particular country, then you can use the not operator. Or someone is not, the gender is not male, it can display for you that. Then you can also decide to combine the different operators. One operator that I forgot to include is not equals to. The not equals to operator, the not equals to operator in SQL can be written like this. Not equals to, let me put it, not equal to can be written in two ways. You either put exclamation mark together with equal sign, or you use greater than and less than at the same time. Then it will display for you not equals to. The simplest example I'm going to show you people, much as I'm trying to add it here, you'll see the example. For example, if you want to display assuming that we want to go to the table called customers and we want to retrieve all the records of customers whose age is not greater than, whose age is not 25, you can decide to either use that one, which means when the age is not equals to 25. Here, box. Or you can decide to use the other exclamation mark and equals to. It will still do the same thing. Then let us first of all practice what we have just explained. This, how many operators? They are around the 7 operators, and see how they work before we move ahead. Let us start with equals to. I think we have been using equals to for some time in there when we are retrieving and so on. So what we can decide to do is, assuming that I want to select all the female customers from the customers table, I can decide to write a simple SQL, say that select all records from customers where their sex is equals to female. Then I end with semicolon. So when I run this one, this simple query, it will go to system and only pick for me the female. For our case here, we only have one female, that is Aziku somewhere. Is it clear? Okay, let us go to the system and update some people records as female. We can decide to say update customers, set the sex equal to female where the customer ID maybe is equals to, maybe put 1. Maybe where the customer ID is equals to C001. What you want to do is we want to update the gender of a customer whose customer ID equals to C001 to female. So that when we run this, you'll see that we now have 2 customers whose gender are female. Because we can just go to the system, we can decide to go and see all the records inside that table so that we can see how many customers are male and the others are female. You'll see that from here, we have 5 customers. Out of 5, 3 are male and 2 are female. That is when you can decide to use the equal sign. Or you can decide to say select all from customers where maybe their country is equals to, which country is common here? We can decide to say maybe all the customers whose country is Congo. When we run this SQL statement, we should be able to find one customer because there's one customer that belongs to Congo. That is one example of using the what? The greater than, the equal sign. Okay, let us go back and see. Assuming that here you'll find that most of the people here are born between what? Are born between 1997 and 1999. Assuming that we want to do what? We want to retrieve the records of all the customers who are born before 1998. How do you do that? We can decide to say, select all from customers where their date of birth is equals to, then we can decide to put like this. We know that date always starts with where they were born, maybe before 1997. We can say that when their date of birth is less than, then you can put the condition. You can put here maybe someone was born is less than, was born before 1998-01-01, which means if someone was born before that date, the records will be displayed. Let us see it. Well, let us run. You'll find that it is only Aziku Amazon, Aziku Samuel and Amazon Laban who are born before 1998 because they are born in 1997. Is it clear? Yes, members, is it clear?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Now, what about if you want to see customers who were born maybe after 1998? We can come here and change this one to greater than this date. People who were born after what? After 1997. Then you can go and run. You see that we have how many people? 3 people. They are all born in they are born between 1998 and 1999. That is where you can use the greater than sign. Then what about greater than or equals to? Assuming that you want to retrieve the records of all the people whose country is not Uganda. Is it clear? You want to retrieve the records of all the people whose countries are not Uganda. What you are going to do is you type select all from customer where the country is not equals to. You can put these two. Is not equals to Uganda. You'll see that if we go to the query, we run that query, you'll find that from the query we have how many people from Uganda? We have only 1 person, which means that this statement should retrieve for us the records of the 4 people who are not from Uganda. Then let us run and see. You see that it will retrieve for us what? These 4 people, 2 to 4, because they belong to Congo, Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda. Or you can decide to use this one, exclamation mark and equals to. When you run this, it should be able to display for you the same results. Let me run that, then I'll run this and see what will happen. You'll find that it will still pick for you the records of the 4 people who are not from Uganda. Then you can decide to use and. You only use and where you have conditions that are equals to true. Assuming that we want to retrieve all the male customers who are Ugandans. Is it clear? Then we can decide to say select all from customers where the sex should first of all be male, and their nationality should be Ugandan. Let me even move it like this to another line. I can try to cut this off. So this simple syntax means that select all the rows and columns from table customer where the sex is male and the nationality is Uganda. You'll see that from this table, look for those male people who are in Uganda. You'll only say that we have who Amazon Labon, who is it from? A Ugandan, who is a male. So when we run this query, we'll be able to display for us the records of, or the record of only Amazon Laban. Let us see when we run this. We'll see that it will only display for us Amazon Laban because the sex is male and is a Ugandan. Then the other thing is also, if you want to use O simply means that with the and, which means that the both conditions must be true. But with the or, it simply means that the either condition must be true, which means the sex can either be a male or female as long as they are Ugandan. It will display for you that record. Then when instead of or, if we decide to use the or, you will see that it will display for us what? It will display for us select occurs where the sex is male or their nationality is a Ugandan. Let me see. Why is it displaying all that? What is the problem? Yes, what's the problem?
Hello, doctor.
Yes?
I think there is no problem why it's displaying all. All looks at one condition being true.
True.
Now, since both condition is true for all, then it's displaying both male and then Uganda.
But
Then
how many male customers do we have? I expected it to display for us only first of all to display for us either all the male customers or all the customers who are Ugandans.
But doctor, I think it is displaying like that because the female ones are all Ugandans.
Very good. That is what I wanted you people to explain. Because you'll see that Asiku Dennis is a female, but one condition is he's a Ugandan. It's not like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Then when you look at this second female here, the second female is who? Samuel. Aziku Samuel is female, is Ugandan. That's why it's displaying this. The reason why it's displaying also the records of the Kenyans is because they are all men. Is it clear now? Members, is it clear?
Yes, doctor, it is clear.
Yes.
Now, assuming that we want to select only all the records of all the female staff, I mean customers whose nationalities are Ugandan. Is it clear? You can decide to say that you want to select the records of all the male customers whose nationalities are Ugandan. When you run this command, you'll see that you only have what? Amazon Levan, who is a Ugandan and is also a male. But if you want to display the what? If you want to display, assuming that we want to display all the females whose nationalities are Ugandans from this particular statement, what we can do here is we can just come here and add the keyword not. Is it clear? Which means that select for us all the, we're saying that let the sex now not be male. The next sex we have there is female, which means that it will pick for you only all the female customers who are Ugandans. And then let us run and see how it will display. You'll see that we have two female customers who are all Ugandans. That's why it is bringing us this. Is it clear? Members, is it clear?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. That is the use of and or not. What about if we want to combine several of them? We want to use and, we want to use or, we want to use not. So we can decide to write a simple SQL statement to do that. Let me still go and select all from customers. Assuming that from this table, we want to select the customer first name, I mean the first name of the customer, the last name, and the sex, where they are female and they are born between a particular period, but their country must be a Ugandan. We can decide to write a simple syntax to do that. We just come up, we say select all from, no, we say select first name, the last name, and that person mute, and their country from customers where one, we want the sex should be equals to, let us make the sex to be equals to what? To female. That is one. And their date of birth. Their date of birth. Maybe they are born. Maybe they are born in 1999. Can decide is greater than What am I doing? Maybe they are born in 1999. We can decide to use that. Let us use less greater than an equal sign. Maybe in 1999, 01, 01. Or their nationality. Isn't a nationality? Yes, it's equals to Ugandan. Because first of all, we want from that statement to displace for us the first name, the last name, the sex, and the country from the technical customers where their sex is female and their date of birth is from 1999 onwards, or their nationality is a Ugandan. So to do this properly, let us put this one in double quotes, not in quotes, or in brackets, and then we run the query and see what will happen. First of all, remove that. If we run this, what happens? You'll see that it will display for us Asiku, Aziku, Amazon. The reason being that Asiku and the Aziku are male. Is it clear? And then I forgot one thing. Their date of birth. Their date of birth. So you'll find that Asiku and Aziku, one, they are female. The reason one Aziku is there is a female. Matches he is born before 1997. And the second reason is that, which means this condition must be fulfilled. One, Tennessee and Samuel are female. Two, the reason is their date of birth. Let us put we're born after this. Yes, they are born. You'll find that one, Dennis is a female, is a Ugandan, and was born in 1999. He fulfills that. Then when it comes to Aziki Samuel, is a female, but he's born, the country is a Tanzanian. Why is he still there when he's born after 1997? I think it's because of him being a female. Then Amazon Laban is a male, Rwandese, but he's born in 1997. Why is Amazon there? Can someone explain that? Why is Amazon being displayed there?
Amazon is being displayed there because of the O condition.
The
O. The O condition is the one making him to be displayed there. He fulfills, and condition is not met, then O, because O, it looks at one of the conditions being
supposed to be
once it is fulfilled, then it accepts it.
Yeah, because all of them are Ugandans, I think that's the reason. I'd put a country instead of the nationality. I think that's why these ones are all displayed. One, you'll find that Dennis and Asiko are all Ugandans, are female and Ugandans. Laban is being brought there because of the nationality issue. But I thought, what about if we put these two conditions like this and we leave this one open? And we run and see what happens. First of all, we want the sex and this to be, the sex will be female, their date of birth will be greater than 1999. Or this, which means it picks, I think it picks either of the condition that is true and it displays it here. What about if we now decide to say that we don't want this or condition and we run only that one? You'll find that it will only pick for us as equal Dennis, because one, the condition is she's a female and was born after that particular date of birth. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
If anyone fails to understand you better, it's better we keep practicing. I mean, you ask the questions so that we can clarify. Then let us go back to the slides. Then we looked at this and the combinations. You can see here someone is this and so on. Then using the in and not in operators. So the in operator is used where the wire clause with the wire clause to match values in the list. The syntax of the SQL in operator is select column this from this where in this. Particularly, maybe assuming that if you want to retrieve the records, maybe of all the customers who belong to some category of countries. Is it clear? Maybe Ugandans and Kenyans, whose nationalities are Ugandans and Kenyans, then you can use the what? The in operator here. Column 1, column 2 are the table names. The table name is actually column 1 and column 2 are the table columns. Table name is the name of the table. The in operator specifies the column value should be compared with. That's why you specify value 1 and 2. For example, select first name country from customers where their country. Our country is, you see, USA and UK. Which means that it will retrieve for you the first name, the country of all the customers who belong to those two countries. That is using in. Then you can see here, it will only be from this example. And the last name of the customers where their country is either USA or UK. Then we have also, that is the SQL in. There's another example. You can also use this other same format. You can also use this format here. It will still display for you, like where USA in a country, where the country USA, you find it in a column called country. It will still display for you the same results. Then we have not in. Not in is just the opposite of that. The other one that we have just explained of in. Not in. Not in means that the countries that you're going to specify in the brackets are the ones you don't want those customers to belong to. For example, the not in operator is used to exclude the rows that match values in the list. It returns all the rows except the excluded rows. The simplest example you can see there.
Guess the how
Displays for us the first name, the last name from countries where the country not in. The country is.
Edward, can you mute?
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes, can someone mute that gentleman?
Madiba, please.
Madiba, you're always putting your thing, you don't want to mute.
Okay.
Please, can you always keep muting your whatever, the Zoom. So when you include in this particular syntax, what happens? I mean, whatever statement here is, it will display the list of all the customers who do not belong to UK and UAE, because we said they should not belong to these countries. Then we have Yeah, this is a still example of country in or country in, still that is the example. Then you can find, you also see here. Okay, let me first deal with this before I go to subqueries, because it will confuse you people if I start from there. Let us go to MySQL. You can still go to MySQL. Go to MySQL here. You go to MySQL. Yeah. We still use customers. Now, assuming that we want only to display the first name, the last name, and the nationality of, oh yes, we want to display the first name, the last name, and the country, not nationality, the country of people, of customers who belong to maybe Kenya and Tanzania. Kenya and Tanzania. You'll see that we are going to write a simple sentence. We only want to retrieve those ones who belong to what? Kenya and Tanzania. So we are going to say, select the first name, the last name, the country from customers where the country where they belong should be Kenya and Tanzania only. So what it will do is it will go to the table and only pick for you all those customers who are in Kenya and Tanzania. So when you run this, you'll see that it will pick for you their first name, their last name, and the country that they belong. You'll find that it's only Adevo, Thomas, and Aziku that belong to Kenya and Tanzania. What about if you want those ones who do not want to display the list of all those customers who do not belong to these countries, to belong to Kenya and Tanzania? Then that's when you can use the not. When you use not in Kenya, in Kenya and Tanzania, it will display for you those people who do not belong to these two countries. So when you run this SQL, you'll find that Uganda is being displayed, Congo is being displayed, and Rwanda, but not Kenya and Tanzania. Is it clear? Members, is it clear?
Yes, doctor.
Very clear.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Then let us go back to our slide. And we look at subqueries. Subqueries using SQL in operator with subqueries. Excuse me, for example, we want to display the customer ID, the first name, from the table customers, where their IDs are those IDs which you find in the table called orders. Is it clear? You want only to display the records of all those customers whose IDs you find in this table called orders. So how do you do that? So let us go back, and I'm going to share what? Let me stop this. The syntax is very simple. You just put select and you list the columns that you want it to appear from customers, where the customer ID is those IDs, all those customers that has made orders. You want only to display the list of all the customers that made orders. Then you can write the simple syntax to do that. So let us first of all go to our MySQL and see how many customers, which customers made orders. Select all from orders. And we see what happens there. You can see that under orders, the customers that make transaction are customer with C001, C002, and only C004, which means that the SQL statement we are going to write will only display for us only those customers that made transactions, which means it should display for 1, 2, and 4. So how do you write it? You just come here, you say select, then you list the columns. One, I want the customer ID to appear. You want the customer ID, the first name, the last name, from customers where we want the customer ID should be inside, should be only those customers that made the transaction, where you can now decide to select the customer ID from orders, because we want only, first of all, we want to the statement to display for us the customer ID, the first name, the last name from the table customer, where now you are filtering where the customer ID should exist in the order table, which means only those customers that made orders, their records should be the one to display in this particular SQL statement. Then once you come here and we run this SQL statement, you'll see that it will only display for us 1, 2, 4, because these are the only customers that made what? Orders. What about if you want, we want to display the list of customers that did not make any transaction? You just use the note. You see, you use the note, which means it will go into order table and select all those customers that did not make orders. So when you run this, you see that Adebo and Amazon did not make any transactions from the table, from orders. They did not make any order. That's why their list has been presented. Because when you go to orders, when you run this statement, you see that Tiri did not make any order. Customer Tiri is not there, and which customer? And customer 5. That's why this SQL statement is displaying for us only these ones who did not make an order for a particular product. Is it clear? Is there any question? Is there any question up to that level?
No yet, doctor.
All is okay.
Who is saying that? Which server are we using for creating SQL database? Who sent that message? Yes? Tom. Do we have Tom online? Tom. Tom, do we have Tom online? Oh, he has left.
He's online.
Who is Tom? He's asking which server did we use for it? What was he meaning by the server? Maybe he's not part of the class because he has decided to mute himself. Okay. Now, we also look at between operator. The between operator, you can use it if you want to select a value within a particular range. In SQL, the between operator is used where the clause to match values in a particular range. Assuming that if we had a column for age and you want to know the age of people between a particular range, or we can decide to say people who are born between this and this. We can decide to find from the table. Then the syntax is you use select columns from tables where the column is between, then you specify the values. For example, we have select item name amount from orders where the amount is between maybe 300 and 500. So all the orders that are made where the amount is between 300 and 500 will be displayed. That is using the between operator. Then we have not between. If you want to display maybe amounts which are not between what you have included there, then use not between. Select the items where instead of now having amount is between, then you put amount not between. Then you specify the range, and then it will display for you those amounts which are outside the range that you have specified there. Then you can also use between with text. For example, if you want to select item and so on from orders where the item is between 1 and L, which means you want the item name to be between I and L. So it will go into the table and look for the column called item. If the item has I and L, and it will be able to display for you that. For us, for example, when you look at this, which items have I and L? Where item between I. We have I somewhere here. I don't see I.
On a monitor.
What about L? Okay, which means between I and L alphabetically. Let us go alphabetically. A, B, C, D, E, F up to the last one. Between I, J, K, L, M, N. Okay, between I, J, K, L, which means anything that has a letter of J and K will be displayed. And if you look at our items here, it is only K where we have keyboard which is displayed. Then we have K, J, and then we have what? K. J, we don't have J, we have K. That's why it has decided to filter for you only what? It has decided to filter for you keyboard, because there is a letter in the word keyboard that belongs to that particular range. Is it clear? Is there any question up to that level, please? Anyone who has failed to understand this? Okay.
I think we're still okay, Doctor.
Okay, I think there that one is
all is well.
Then null and not null. We have null and not null. In SQL, is null and is not null are used to check if a column in a table contains a null value or not. In SQL, is null condition is used to select all the rows if the specified field is null. But unfortunately, for our tables, we did not specify null somewhere. Did we specify it? If I can recall, we put one of the columns not null. So the syntax is select columns from table where the column name is null. For example, you can see here, in this table called employee, we have employee ID, first name, last name, the department, and email. Then if you see the employee 2, the email is 9. Employee 4 and 5, their emails are null. Assuming that you want only to retrieve the records of all the employees whose email is null, then you write the syntax, select all from customers where email is null. Then it will retrieve for you the records of all those employees whose email address is null. That's why it has decided to display for you employee with employee ID 2, 4, and 5. I think this one is clear. Then is not null. In SQL, the is not null condition is used to select rows if the field specified field is not null. It has the following syntax: select select the columns from table where column name is not null. Then the simplest example is here: select all from employees where the email address is not null, which means that it will go and select for you all the records, but it will pick for you only those employees whose email addresses are in the system. That's why you'll find that Peter's email address is there and Rose's email address is there. That's why it has decided to pick them. Then is null with count. You can also use is null with count. Like if you want to count how many people have their email addresses null, or how many people have their email addresses not null, you can use the count. For example, select count from employee where email address is null. It will only display for you count in brackets all, then it will count for you the employees whose email address are null. It will display for you 2, because we have 2 employees who have no email addresses. Is it 2? There were 3, I think. Yeah, there were 3. That's why you see it brought for us Megan, Linda, and Mary. They don't have email addresses. Then similarly, we can also use count functions with is not null to count the number of the empty fields. So is there any question up to that level before we go and see how we can use between, not between? And we cannot practice null because null and not null, because when we are creating tables, we specified everything as not null. If there is no question, let us go to MySQL and we see the examples. We can come here and then we go to SQL, we share it. Now, let me go to the table orders and see what is there. This time, let us use the table orders. Select all from orders. When we run this statement, you'll see that we have, yes, we have total price. We have the total price, which is indicated there. The total price. The total price is from 12,000 to 500 to 1 million, I think. Yes, to 1 million. Now, assuming that we want to retrieve the orders, we want to retrieve all those orders where their total price is between maybe 500,000, maybe from 500,000 to maybe 900,000. How do we do that? We are going to use the what? The between to retrieve that. So what we are going to do is we just type select. We want the order ID. We want the order ID. We want to know the person who made that ID. The person who made that order. And then the total price. Total price from orders where the total price is between 500,000 and 900,000. So all those orders which are between that range, between 500 and 900,000, will be displayed. Let us run this and see. When we run this query, you see that we only have 500. Why do we have 500? Why do we have 500,000? Why do we have only 500,000? Because we have only one which is 500. With the rest are 12,000, 360,000, 80,000, and 1 million. But our condition is we want it to be between 500 and 900. That's why it's bringing for us the 500 inclusive. What about if you want those ones which are not between? If you put here not, then it will display for you the rest that are not between that range. When you run this, you'll find that it will display for you 1,012,360 and then 80,000 because they are not between the range of 500 to 900. Is it clear? Yes, members, is it clear?
Yes, doctor.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
now let us go to customers. Select all from customers. I want to see something. Good. Now, assuming that we want to display the list of all the customers whose first name has a range of characters, maybe from what we can say from J to Q. All those customers whose first name has characters between that particular range will be displayed. How do you write that? It's just like writing the first one. You go back, you say select. This time we only want the first name from customers where their first name is between what? Is between, then you specify the range, maybe between J and Q. Between J and Q. If we go up there, you'll find that J, we only have M. Is M between? Yes. Q, R, S, T, U. It will be Amazon, Asiku. Which else? I think maybe this. I don't know. Let us run this and see. When you run this, the first name, which means that there is no one whose first name or the first letter of their first name falls within this range. That's why it's not being able to display it. Now, assuming that, we first go back, assuming that we want now. Please, who is that one making that noise? Now, assuming that we want to display customers whose first name, the first letter of their first name falls within a range of maybe B, between B and L. You'll find that between B and L, which characters are there? A is not there. It will be B, C, D, E, F, G, H, which means that it is going to display for us Hassan Habib, because Hassan Habib is the only one, the rest are in A, which are not within this range. So when we run this statement, when we run this SQL statement, you'll see that it will only display for us Habib, because the first letter of Habib, H, is within this particular range. What about if you said not between, which means that it will now display for us the list of all the customers whose first name, letter of their first name does not fall within B and L. You'll see the A is being falling, they will all fall under that range. Is it clear, members? Is it clear, members?
We are following.
I think that is the end of the slide, and that is the end of today's class. So I'm encouraging you people to go and read more about inbuilt functions in SQL. We have to understand inbuilt functions. We have to understand joins, then view. So the next time we are going to meet, we shall look at inbuilt functions, joins, and view. Is it clear? Is it clear, members?
Yes, doctor.
Okay,
Yes.
take that.
Yes.
Go and get familiar with some of the inbuilt functions in MySQL, so that next time we shall start from there. So you can go and rest before you start Emma's class. Is it clear?
Thank you, doctor.
Yes, yes, doctor.
Yes.
How many people are not
Thank
there
you.
today? How many people are not there today? I'm not seeing Toreme in my class for some time. I'm not also seeing this man from Terego local district government. What is his name? Saka? Is it Saka? I'm not seeing that one in my class.
Actually, doctor,
At least the rest here,
I
these are
think-
common people like the
I think some of
MDCs,
these colleagues
Olagos,
still have
Habibs.
challenges on accessing the link.
Madima, Patrick up there, Patrick Sawadi, Dominic, those ones, Laban, you are on and off. Morris
Doctor, I have not missed.
You have not missed, but you're always on or off. And then this Wamushi today, where is he? I saw him on and he has disappeared.
He was around.
Yes?
On my side, I'm having it.
Hello?
I think most of the colleagues still have challenges
try-
understanding the.
There was?
Yeah, there's always a challenge of accessing the rightful link. The link is a little bit challenging to most of the colleagues.
You see, we had created one link. We are just going to use this link for all these other whatevers. I think it will be Taban and I we shall be using this, because we are in IUIU, they are busy paid person. That's why it will not interrupt us. We are just going to use this one for conducting lectures, this same link. So if you are going to have Dr. Tabani's class or my class, you just know that we're going to use this link.
Okay, doctor.
So just know that if it's Guma or Taban, we are going to use this link. Only if we are not within IUIU, we shall decide to create an account and then we send you people.
Okay.
Okay, good night.
But
Right,
doctor,
Yes, yes.
I was there.
how do I save my work? Which file format?
He's a little guy.
Which file?
Not him.
Doctor,
Who is the other one talking?
it is Awad who is asking a question.
Hamid is the one making noise there. Yes, can you talk now?
Doctor, I'm saying,
Eh.
like now, if I have my practice work like the one we have done, how do I save it? Because I tried saving one file, it refused to open again when I used
I always encourage you to save it in Notepad.
In Notepad, yeah? Oh, okay.
Or you can either decide to back up the database. But even if you back the database, next time you will not see the codes. It's better to save it in a Notepad.
Okay.
Because Notepad is one of the applications people don't use frequently, and then it's the high time that you begin using it.
Okay.
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 You can decide to put these things in Notepad, and so that next time if you put a comment or you put a heading, maybe using the between operator, and then what do you do, and so on.
Okay.
Okay. So go and understand what I've indicated. I told you people to do the inbuilt functions, the joins, and using the view. That is what we are going to cover next. What we are going to cover this particular one. This is it Friday or Thursday?
One of them, I think, is Thursday.
I think it's Thursday, not Friday. So we shall cover that so that next week, if there is time, we shall see whether we can cover what procedures between user-defined functions or procedures. One of them we shall see how we can do. We can come up with it. Then by that day, our next lecture is when I've got the list. I don't know whether that is the final list that you have generated. The coordinator.
Yes, please.
So I've got the list. I'm going to assign the topics.
Yes, I've not received new members, so tentatively that is the
list we
number.
go with. Yeah. Whoever will come, I don't know, will either join a group or whatever. Then so that after that, next week, we shall see. After next week, yeah. Next week, I need to cover something to do with normalization.
Yes.
I need to cover something about normalization. Then I can give you can go and read and watch videos about normalization. You understand it, and then from there, the next you can just present. It is presentation. There will be no more practicals apart from after this one. There will be no more practicals.
Okay.
Then the next thing is maybe assuming that you are given a case study, and then they want you to design for them a database. How do you identify the entities? How do you identify the attributes? How do you identify an entity to qualify as a primary key? Then how do you identify the relationships? Then how do you minimize data redundancy to generate those smaller tables that you're going to come up with? So you need to understand that so that I can decide to say that identify an organization, or I can decide to choose the organization myself. Then I'll just say that read about this organization and then identify, design to develop for them a simple thing. Because if I say you people should do, you go online and get something which is already done and you not even understand it. So I want you to pick that particular thing. Where is Emmanuel? There is this guy Emmanuel from Terego. Is he doing computer science?
Ajobe Emmanuel.
Ajobe.
I'm not seeing him online, but he has been attending sometimes.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying that is when he was online, I was going to ask him to look for his colleague because that is something from Terego district. He's in AI?
No, he's in computer science.
Oh, so just use Aka's name.
Yeah, he just uses,
Maybe the person was using someone's name. So it's better you use your full name so that we can know that you are attending. That is how I mark my attendance, by the way. Charity Akuma, are you online?
Yes, I'm online.
Okay. Madima. Dramika Moses.
Yeah, I'm online.
Tom is online. Tom? Do you have Tom online? Morris Omara.
I'm available, doctor.
Dennis Asiku. John Odabo.
Present, doctor.
Dr.
I
Dennis.